quality of your relationships is dependent on your willingness to have conversations about those relationships. Not comparing what I had in uni with what I've got now. You go to the library, you make friends. You go to the shop, you make friends. You go to this place, you make friends. It is an effort.
Because uni wasn't incubation. The temptation is to look back at uni and be like, oh, the good old days. But actually, that just wasn't my experience of Warwick at all.
Yeah, I did anything. I don't understand why I had friends.
I want to be your friend. You want friends with me at first.
Yeah.
We're going to be friends.
Or like humility. I need you.
If it does look like a beg, I've got you on the mic.
It's almost as if you're reading my diary. I actually just don't want to go to the pub and talk about nothing. But talk about I was like, God, do you hate me? How do you discern what basis people have in your life?
Breaking this ideal image of, oh, I'm just so close to this person.
The reality is that it's a small thing in comparison to if you just to allow that
How to
to
navigate is moving back in with my parents. The advice that I would give is
I'm Angela. Hey, I'm Angela.
I'm Renelle. Something else.
Straight. Grace.
I'm Alara. I'm BT, or SST. We are talking today about things we wish we knew before leaving university. No one is talking about it. I think a lot of people actually just genuinely feel lost and confused post-university.
Yeah.
And there's no language, there's no blueprint, there's no manual, and we all kind of figure it out ourselves. And as for myself, like I think I definitely experienced a long period, recent period of isolation where it was like, let me figure this out alone. And I realized I don't have to do this alone because everyone else is doing it alone. If everyone does it alone, then what do we get from that? But what if we all did it together and also provide language to those who are coming after us? You know, it's almost like daunting to hear people say, yeah, like post-uni is hard. The same question that keeps popping up is, how's post-uni life? So I don't want to give you a pessimistic view, but I also don't want to lie to you.
Yeah.
But then I also don't want to like say, oh, like, yeah, it's hard, and then make you feel like you should be scared as somebody who's in uni coming out. I want there to be a space where there's detailed language of how to like go through it, rather than just saying, yeah, you know, like work and like figure out your life with God and like that's about it. Because that's not giving someone what they need or hope, exactly that. So
I mean, I said in my speech at Mercy's wedding that like people typically say that like all good things have to come to an end. And I don't actually think that's true. I think all good things just evolve, if that makes sense. And I think that's probably the transition between uni and life after uni. It's just an evolution. And like I think probably where I've had the most heartbreak or disappointment or pessimism has just been from not truly understanding that there was a difference between those two seasons. Like the uni lifestyle was just like, it almost felt like uni was an incubator. You learn so much, you're developing so much, but you also see a different way of doing life. And it's not that that way of doing life is only confined to uni, but then the invitation is for us to like pick that up and take that into our everyday lives. And like, because realistically you go to uni and then people either go back home or move to different parts of the country or move out of the country, and it's a completely different context. But then the call is then for us to bring that into that space, which is often the thing that takes more courage, because it's so much easier to do something really radical if your friends are doing something really radical. And like the bar is set so high of like, no, this is just what we're meant to be doing as people who know God and people who want to make God known. We're just going to use our gifts to do X, Y, Z thing. And I think because Warwick for us was so much of a space of that, of just like, oh yeah, God said I'm going to do this, so actually I'm just going to do it tomorrow. And like, you have friends rallying around you saying, yeah, great for you, I just have a word about this, X, Y, Z thing, and you just feel so encouraged. And so like, in fact, I think there are probably people who felt like, oh, I'm not doing something, should I be doing something? And that for lots of people might have pushed them out of that place of like shyness or fear. And I think that was such a unique thing in our uni experience. But then actually, then something I've realised only now retrospectively, like 2 years later, is that, oh, like, actually that sense of hearing God and doing things, that childlikeness wasn't to be left in that season. But I think it's so easy to leave it there and be like, nostalgia, that was a thing for them. But it's like, actually, no, yes, we have 9 to 5s, and it's such a hard adjustment to adjust to like coming home every day. And for me, where it's like you come over, what am I gonna eat? There's nobody that's making food for me. I need to figure out what I'm gonna eat.
Yes.
And also, I didn't work a 9 to 5. I will sometimes work like a 9 to 9 or like.
God bless you.
Do you know what I mean? So I think it's then navigating the whole speaking to other people situation and just navigating how do you want to show up in the world and what things are your priority. Like, what am I laying the groundworks for now and what habits and routines are gonna enable me to thrive. I've spoken a lot, so over to someone
I
else.
think you did so well.
I don't think I realised how difficult managing relationships post-uni would be.
Oh yeah.
Maybe more particularly for me because I'm in a city where nobody else was. So like all of my friends, all of my relationships were with people who are from London, Essex or whatever, and I'm from Manchester. So I think the thing that I found difficult is navigating the fact that university blessed me with such amazing relationships, but for the way that life is set up, it's not sustainable for my closest relationships to be 200 miles away.
Yeah.
So for me, the thing that I've had to kind of make peace with is, not necessarily make peace with, but come to value in a different way, in a new way, is community. And like intentionally building something outside of that. In Manchester, I have friends, but it's like I was just with my best friends for like 3 years. Like we lived together, we did everything together. So my relationships in Manchester are not going to be as close as what I had in uni because I've never lived with you. We're not doing like, I'm not doing every day with you. It's like, oh, like, uni, you go to Tesco with the person that you live with because why not? Like, we've just been studying together, do you know what I mean? So like, we're gonna go and do that together, but now it's like, it's a bit weird if I'm in my house and I'm texting someone else and be like, oh, like, you wanna go to Tesco? I actually don't, I just got back from work. I actually would hate that, do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? So, I think, yeah, like, it's particularly for the way that the Lord has set up life, it's like, you need people, and your people can be 200 miles away, but like, who's there? Particularly in my life, in proximity, who's the person that's like brushing up against me, like doing every day with me, who can say, oh yeah, like I saw you that day and you seemed down. Whereas my relationships who are like 200 miles away, I have to go out my way to be like, I was down in this period of time, can you pray for me? So there's something about like having proximity, like someone being in your space. And for a while, God forgive me, I didn't see the value in that because I was like, yeah, but I found my best friends, like I'm fine, like it's okay. But then it did get super isolating, it did get quite lonely, and it's like, as much as I can call you up, as much as I can FaceTime you, like schedules aren't always going to line up, and it's not you. It's actually not even me either.
It's not the person.
It's just the timing. We just don't have the timing. For me, the thing that I've learned is where I am, be present and be there fully, and experience where you are and experience it fully. Kind of like echoing what Grace has said, it's like I learned so much about community, I learned so much about relationships, I learned so much about friendships whilst I was in uni, that I'm now able to kind of like apply, not so much replicate, but kind of cultivate that again, or in a new way or in a different way whilst I'm in Manchester. Because I'm so convinced that I'll come to London at some point, but until then, I don't want there to be this like weird gap where like, I was kind of lonely for like 4 years, and then
when it's like you can actually make that.
And I think the thing that is, you don't realize how much you actually learn beyond your degree whilst you're in uni. Because like my ability to relate with people was fostered in uni. My ability to be vulnerable with people, because Renelle, who came into uni, she was very much on the vibe of like, I'm coming to get my degree, I'm not trying to make friends. Like, Joanna, one of my friends, will literally tell me all the time that she came and she knocked on my door and she said, you are coming out of your room and you're going to be my friend. I was like, oh, that was scary to me. But now, like, I'm now in a place where I'm able to speak of community and relationships and like putting value on those things. There's something about proximity. And I think that's the thing that I've learned about the power and importance of like being next to people, being with a person, being able to say, oh yeah, don't worry, like it's just 10 minutes away from me.
Has it started filming?
Yes.
Oh, is it nice? Is it cute?
Is it cute angle? I think you have it.
Jesus. It looks calm.
Yeah. I think the
Also, Grace,
tripod.
I like that we're both like constant singers. That makes me happy.
But do you know what's really interesting? This is the natural form of me,
Same.
but I don't find enough spaces in Cardiff where I can just be me, if that makes sense.
But I think the question I was asking was, like, what advice would you give to someone who's in that transition state where it's like, you are now, would you say you now have somebody who's proximate to you in Manchester that you can like call on and be like, hey, wait.
Yeah, I feel like the Lord has blessed me with a couple of people, and I think that's also the other thing. Not comparing what I had in uni with what I've got now.
Right.
Because in uni, I had a bunch of people. Like if this person doesn't pick up, I can call this person. If this person doesn't pick up, I can call this person. Like there were just so many people to call upon, and I can still call upon them. But again, like I said, the proximity thing is the thing that allows you to do life together with someone. But I think the thing that I did struggle with is like, now there's only like one or two people that I can call on. Like, what is that? And then actually a conversation that I was having with Grace is now I'm like looking to the quality of my relationships as opposed to the breadth and the like how many people can I have as my friend, because that was just a weird thing that I wanted for some reason. But the advice that I would give is, I guess, recognize what are the things the qualities that you value in friendship. What is it that you're seeking for in friendship? Also, what does the Lord say about friendship?
Oh yeah.
Have that as a framework. And also recognize that friendship and becoming friends with someone is awkward. You do have relationships that you make where it's just like, oh, it's super seamless, day one, like we got on like a house on fire. But when you're put in a position where it's like, no, you currently know nobody and you need to figure that out.
Yeah.
It will be the awkward, you're approaching people that you wouldn't typically approach, or you put yourself out there in more social situations, and it's not that you need to be friends with everyone in that social situation, but it's like, oh, that one person that you had a conversation with, follow up with that and like message them and say, hey, like, I really enjoyed the conversation that we had, like build a rapport with people that you're enjoying. It seems a bit intense, but for me, the thing that's worked is like stating my intention of like,
That's good.
I want to be your friend.
Yeah.
This is what I understand of friendship. What do you understand of friendship? Like, and it is quite intense, but it's like, you're now not in an environment that is as easy as uni, where you go to the library, you make friends. You go to the shop, you make friends. You go to this place, you make friends. It is an effort. Like, it actually requires a level of labor, but, and that can feel uncomfortable and can feel a bit like, bro, like, why am I, like, I'm not gonna lie, the thing for me is like, why do I feel like I beg? Like, why am I coming in here and I'm begging it and I'm asking you, oh, like, please, will you be my friend? Like, can you invite me to stuff? Like, but the people won't know that you're not invited to the stuff because for them, that was their usual rhythm. It's only you, or like, not only you, but like, you will be one of the few people who this is new to you. Like, you're coming into their typical now.
Yes.
And it's like, hey, can you invite me into your typical? Like, I would like to be a part of that.
Because they wouldn't know otherwise.
They wouldn't know
I
otherwise.
think of that.
For me, again, like, it's like at my church, I moved to the church that I'm in whilst I was in uni. So people would see me coming in and out. So they were kind of like, yeah, she comes here, but like, she knows people. So like, she must be good. But like, is she friends with us? Is she friends with them? Like, where did she go? Like, they weren't clear on where I was. So you do have to do the uncomfortable work of like what feels like laboring at making relationships and saying, hey, like, I'm here, I like you, I want to be your friend. And if they say no, on to the very next. I didn't see it at first, but I now see it. Like, one of my friends tomorrow, another one of my friends, Unique, like, I get to experience friendship in that specific way. Like, they know me in my Manchester context. They know what is happening at work. And my friends in London know what's happening at work, but they know like 2 weeks later. They know it's like a month later, or like stuff like that. They don't have a time delay now.
That's good.
And yeah, that just helps in terms of like them being like, oh yeah, I was praying for you that time that you know when you came into church, you were looking a bit, you were looking well. I've prayed for you. Like, do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think the thing that we all need to know is that you're not in the same environment that you were in, and you're not in the environment where like everyone is super eager to make relationships because you go to uni and you're shocked, like you're a bit like, oh my gosh, like this is scary, and it's like, oh, can I make, like, who can I make friends with? Like, everyone is like a potential friend, but it's like once you're out in the real world, everyone's kind of like, yeah, this is my group, this is what I do with them, and yeah, you do have to be the person that knocks on people's door to be like, hey, like I would love to be involved in what you're doing. It's a big thing on like humility, like just recognizing my need for people. Like, I need you. Like, I do need you.
It's good.
Maybe you don't know it yet, but like I know I can see that this could be a good relationship, and it's like, like sometimes you have to, for lack of better words, quote unquote, look like a beg, because
No,
at the end of the day, like it's to the world, like it's to the world, absolutely.
Like biblical friendship is what the world thinks is a beg.
Yeah.
Because we go hard, we go deep, and it's that's what our norm should be. So if it does look like a beg, then we got you on the right track.
No. It's true. Yeah, I think uni can kind of put up this like, can create this illusion that friendship is just this like easy breezy, seamless, don't have to think about it, not much effort, low
intensity.
My goodness, like it requires effort, and your relationship will only last by what you put in. They only work by the investments that we've made. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Interesting. Thanks for sharing.
That is so good. I feel like based on what you were saying, I was wondering like, how do you guys navigate that whole comparison thing? Because I think it's very easy, especially for us lot from Warwick, to just think when it comes to friendship, the bar is so high because of the people, the caliber of people that were at Warwick, that you come back to your space. How do you navigate that whole, I don't want to like compare you to what I had before and think that, oh, what I had there was so much better. Like, oh my gosh, I just can't deal with like these.
It's almost as if you're reading my diary.
Where's the debt?
Where's the debt? Where's past the weather? You know?
But this is so real though.
Yeah.
Because I think that was me for like 2 years. I was just like, I actually just don't want to go to the pub and talk about nothing and talk about weather. Do you know what I mean? But then it's like when you've experienced such depth in conversation, you know that's possible, and you've experienced the fruit of that. You want to experience that, and I think there's probably somewhere a good balance in the middle of like, I think that is, there are probably lots of reasons why the friends that we made at Warwick were very deep or whatever, and I think in Cardiff it's not that people aren't deep, but I think there's one aspect of people they just maybe don't know that's on offer.
Yeah.
And like you've never been in this space where people have been willing to go as deep, or for that to be a norm. Like, yeah, you might have the occasional kind of deep conversation if it's really late at night, or you're at a party, or January might be, I don't know, whatever it might be. For me, the comparison thing has just been like being willing to see things in seed form. So being able to be willing to see a friendship that could have the potential for that depth in like 2 years' time.
Yeah.
And being willing to just do the coffee dates and do you want to come to my house for dinner, and like just incrementally, because it's just not going to come as fast, because uni was an incubation. And it's like things that in the real world would take quite a long time could happen in a short period of time. But I didn't realize that for like 2.5 years, so I was like, God, do you hate me? What's actually going on? Why do I have no friends?
Incubator is so real, because I feel like subconsciously, even though we don't think about it, we actually knew that uni is a limited time. So like, I feel like it somehow in some way informed our level of depth, that it was like, yeah, we have time, but we also don't, like it's 3 years, whereas I think in the real world you may not have that subconscious mindset, which may also have some impact in the way that you lead friendship.
Can I just say 2 things that are crazy? One, the fact that you just said it was 3 years, and we all said we're like a year and a half post-grad. That means we've done half of our uni experience out of uni. And for 2, I feel like there's a method.
I was gonna say,
Thank you so much for the anyone not from
sorry?
Thank you for that.
Yes, we must clarify, because there's other kinds of meth.
So I feel like there's some sort of method that we just don't know yet, because the reason for me, I feel like my uni experience was maybe a little bit different to some of your uni.
Tell us more.
Yes, we talk about it.
You have to warm
I'm so thanks, yeah. I'm just like wiggly. But the reason I developed such close friendships in uni is because we lived together, bro. We actually did life together. Like, we did day in, day out our life together from the ages of 18 to 21. And it just doesn't look like that at all anymore. Yeah. So I feel like has to be some sort of myth out there of how you cultivate deep friendships without actually waking up and showering together.
I feel like once you leave uni, you just actually have to recognize that, like, you're an adult and you're responsible for your relationships, your finances, your everything. So it's like the quality of your relationships is dependent on your willingness to have conversations about those relationships. Okay. So like, there wasn't a need to have a conversation about your relationships when you're in uni, because it's like, I've got a problem with you, fine, you're sat downstairs, I'm coming downstairs right now, we're gonna talk about it. Do you know what I mean? But it's now like a, hey sis, I've not seen you in 6 months. Like, what do you want our relationship to look like? And again, it's like, awkward, feels a bit deep, feels like you're taking life a little bit too seriously, but it's like...
It does, yeah.
But it's like, no, but do you actually want that relationship? Like, do you care for that relationship to be willing to sit down and say, hey, like, yeah, like, our relationship feels a little bit different. Like, we used to do everything together. Like, how can we, like, adapt to the new season of life? Because that's also what we need to learn to be. Is like, we need to have... I want to say dexterity, that's not the word, but it's like the ability to bend.
Flexibility.
Yeah, to flex to the time that you're in. Your relationship isn't any less deep, it's just you are in two different spaces, or you're in two different like times or seasons of your lives. Your relationship shouldn't be contingent on
proximity.
Not necessarily that, but like shouldn't be contingent on the environment that you're in. If it's a true relationship, like it's like, no, like I'm like, again, seems deep, seems a bit like, bro, like this just big, man, but like, I'm choosing to be your friend. We don't have to be friends.
Yeah.
But because I'm choosing to be your friend, for example, it's like my friends who are down here, I think, it's like, okay, cool, like every 2 months, I need to make sure I see you, or every quarter, we've got to catch up, or you do need to have that conversation. Otherwise, the relationship will just go. Yeah. And it won't be anyone's fault. It's everyone's just busy. And that's just how it is. But I feel like ET has actually had some stuff to say for a while.
Yeah, so
and I would love for her to speak. I would love for you to speak.
So I moved out of London when I was like 10 or 11. So I've been a long distance friend for a really long time, because I've never really had, I went to school, secondary school, in Letchworth, but like I didn't make like close friends. I have like 2.5-ish friends. That period of my life. So I'm used to like phone calls. Like phone calls are a normal thing for me. Like texting every day is a very normal thing for me. And uni was really, really fun for me because I'd never been close to my friends. My friends had never been walking distance. Like it was always like, we need to plan a day, I need to check my trains, and we need to actually make a plan if we're going to see each other. So for me, uni was like, oh wow, like it was just 15-minute walk. Oh, I'm coming over the house. You know, it was really, really fun. And I think when I left uni and moved back home, I missed that, but it wasn't like I've done this before. Like this was my life. Outside of those 3 years and when I was still living at home with all my other friends, this has been my life. And this is something you said, Bruno, like I've always been I want to be your friend kind of girl. So like I meet people, I like your character, I'm like, yeah, I want to be your friend. Like, you're gonna be a friend. Even if you're not friends with me at first. Yeah. We're gonna be friends. yeah. I have a plan. We're gonna get there. You're gonna be like, I will just say love you.
I saw it. I just had to catch up.
I was waiting for you. There are a few people that are literally like, we speak every day, like I know the ins and outs of your life and you live in London and I don't. Like so distance for me is like very like not as relevant in terms of like how intense our friendship is, because if something's happening, I will just call you. This is the situation. This is what I need.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think I do miss having people next door because I really miss spontaneous activity. Like let's go bowling, or let's just get to Nando's, or let's have a movie night. Can't do any of that because I'm tired after that. I'm not coming. I'm not actually coming.
That's 1 hour journey.
I'm not coming. So I do definitely miss that, but I also think I've really enjoyed, and I think it kind of ties in with being off socials as well. I've really enjoyed the intentionality of the conversations I have had with people, like outside of like my regular group of friends. I've really enjoyed like when I have arranged to meet up with someone, or we have like arranged a phone call, or we have arranged like a catch up. Like I have actually really enjoyed that over text as well. If I think of a person, I will text them at the same time, and I do that a lot with people from uni. I'll be like, oh, like, just remembered you today. Tell me about your life. What have you been up to? Spoke to you 3 months ago. So what's been going on? And I think part of enjoying that so much is also accepting what kind of friendship I have with each person. Like, I'm not expecting, like, I didn't expect us to continue speaking every day because I don't know, I'm quite real. But like I said, I haven't lived in London for a long time, so I'm quite used to that. So I'm very like, this isn't the kind of friendship we have. This was based on the fact that we live next to each other. And while that was lovely, I'm not mad at the fact that I speak to you once every 6 months. Like, I didn't expect any different. And for the friendships that is like, no, we are actually like friends, like you're one of my guys, like that still is the case. Like I will text you, call you, something's going on, hey, send you a picture. Like even if you haven't replied to my message, hey, did my hair today? By the way, do you know what I mean? Like I will just send the picture and that's it. I think again, it is just how you make it. Like I think I'm this way because I've had years of experience of it. And communication, like openly, was really important for me. Just being like, if we're doing this, like this is how I am. If it's too much for you, sorry. Do you know what I mean? And that's okay. If it is, that's okay. Like we don't have to stay very close friends. It's not the end of the world if we do or don't. I just feel so supported by all my friends, and like they're all so far away from me. But I really, really do feel so. Like I never really feel alone or isolated. I just feel like I just call my friend.
That's amazing. That's a gift.
No, that is.
I feel like that was a whole testament.
No, genuinely, and a question for you in that, because I think something I know a lot of people do struggle with is the setting the expectations things and the expectations from like transitioning from one season to the next. So what advice would you give people for like, how did you get to that place where you just didn't have those expectations and you're quite secure in the friendships that you have with people? Is that because it's like you've spent years developing your best friends, or how do you discern what different places people have in your life, and how do you also keep that open to change?
Absolutely, especially keeping it open to change. I had a lot of conversations with God about my friends during secondary school, because secondary school I felt very insecure in my friendships because I felt like everybody was together in one place and I was outside always trying to catch up and find out what's been going on. And I just felt like I was always trying to get in the club from where I was, and I really didn't like the feeling. And I would speak to God about it, and I'd be like, God, like I don't want to beg it, but like why are my friends speaking to me? And he very kindly just kind of explained to me like, just keep it real. Who would you call in time of trouble? And it's like a lot of the people that I desired to be so close to, I wouldn't call you if I was. Do you know what I mean? Like I actually wouldn't pick up the phone to call you, and so it just, I think for me it was kind of just breaking this ideal image of, oh, I'm just so close to this person, and just be real. Like whose voice am I looking for when I need support, or who am I willing to share my prayer points with for the week? Like who am I, do you know, like, who's checking for me and who am I also checking for? I think for me anyway, there was a lot of over romanticization of friendships. And I think it was you that was saying daydreaming, like you don't believe in that. And I think like just sometimes the over romantic thing it's just a bit much. Like sometimes you just had a really good conversation. That is it. Do you know what I mean? Like it can stay, like I think it also ties with being present as well. Like in that present moment, you had a really good conversation with that person, or maybe you guys are having a long conversation over a week. The week is done. Like it's okay. It's actually fine. And I think that coming to accept those moments as this happens once in a while, and it's lovely, and then it doesn't, and it stops. And coming to accept that allowed me to grow in my security in my friendships. The last thing I'd say is I just ask for reassurance as well. Like, I think I'm a really big like talker. Like, I just, if I'm feeling something, hey, feeling a bit insecure, do you still love me? Are you still happy in our friendship? Is there anything you want to change? And then again, flipping it and being like, what kind of friend am I? And I'm a very verbal friend. Like, I'm a, hey, I love you kind of girl, do you know what I mean? I'm quite the words girl. So then I'm like, what would I expect from myself? Like, what do I do? And so what do I then want back? And I think when something's kind of been said, it's like, okay, that's fine. Now that I know that, until you say anything different to suggest that maybe we're not as close anymore, that's the truth I'm running with. Unless you say to me, you know, can you say that? Not feeling the vibe anymore. Then I'm just going to assume that you still do think of me in this way and I still think of you in this way. And if anything changes, then I would hope that would be communicated. And if I feel like, oh, hey, your tone feels a bit awkward, sometimes I'm a bit sensitive and tone's feeling a bit, and I'll just say that. And then he's like, oh, no, I'm just having a bad day. Oh, that's fine. So I think that's another thing, just like saying what I need, and then also just like, I believe you. Today, actually.
A thousand generations. I was like, I want to check my phone. We're live. We're on. What are you going to share with us? What was I going to say? What was I going to say? You know what it is? I can't quite remember. Communicate. With. Yeah. That is like such an art that you actually need to like learn how to do and do well. So it's like communicating these things become vital. You have to make an active effort to say, hey, like, I don't know, like, something feels off. Is it just me being insecure, or is there actually something off? And it's to go back to kind of what I was saying earlier. It's like, no, it's good. I wasn't saying anything. I actually wasn't. But it's going back to the thing that I was saying earlier about like, oh, like, it may feel like you're being a bit of a beg or like whatever. It's not true. That emphasis on like, you may feel like it's not the case. It's actually vital for the health of your relationships to be able to say, hey, I'm feeling like this. It may be wrong, but I would love for you to reassure me. Where are we at in terms of our relationship? Are you happy in our relationship? Would you like things to... Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it's something that seems so simple.
So sorry.
Is it melting everywhere?
Please, let's put this back in the freezer.
You don't want ice cream soup? Okay, that's fine. That's strange. That's strange.
Yeah.
I would drink that. That's fine.
You do that.
E.T., did you finish your lemonade?
Yes.
Just making sure. I'm like my mum. She's like, you have to drink it all at once.
At once, yeah.
Or else
I did.
it's not doing.
Nelly Belly, what will you say again?
I was literally just saying that, communication is an art form that you do need to get good at, because otherwise, like you'll find relationships that you didn't expect to breaking down because it's like all of a sudden we stop talking and then you have this weird resentment, or like it's like you just cannot afford to keep things in even if they feel irrational.
Yeah.
So it's like you can even pose it as like, hey, I may be being irrational right now, but this is what I am feeling. And it doesn't invalidate what you're experiencing because you are feeling that and there's a reason why you're feeling that, and it's like, okay, if this is someone I'm doing life with, it's like, let us explore that together. Even if you are 200 miles away, or even if you are like in another city, it's like, these are things that but again, it's still applicable on you to your like day-to-day relationship, but it's just like, it is an art form that you need to be good at and get used to being like a bit, hey love, like I know that we spoke about this like 3 months ago, but like can we just pick can we just pick it up again?
But I do think there's this like so unfortunate, like this idea that not only that friendship is like particularly easy, but that it's not cool to be expressive. Like I know now it's like cool to be overly out there. But I just feel like genuine expression of self is like, why are you deeping it? Or like, why are you thinking it? Whatever. But like, it's just not that serious.
It's not.
If you're having a thought, like I literally did that. Do you remember after the bridal shower? And I sent you a text and I was like, yeah, I don't know if you thought this at the time, but I thought this. I thought I did this. Did that offend you? And you were like, I didn't cross my mind. I was like, oh, okay. Like, why am I going to kill myself even thinking it? But I could just ask the person, did you feel like this? And if you say yes or no, yes. Oh, okay, can we talk about that? Because I had to think about it and I'm sorry. Do you know what I mean? It's just so easily resolvable when you
open up your mouth.
Lift up
the sound.
Assumption is literally a rabbit hole. And I think we think of the very thing that is frustrating us, we think of it as a big thing. But the reality is that it's a small thing in comparison to if you was to allow that to fester and continually build up to the point where now in 6 months' time you've realised, I don't have this friendship anymore. What went wrong? Oh, I didn't speak up. I didn't allow that vulnerable situation I didn't allow myself to be vulnerable in that situation because of it could be pride, it could be there's just so many things, and I just feel like we allow ourselves to avoid the very things that we don't want by the small things of hey, and it creates that sense of this is okay in our relationship. For some of us in university, some of us didn't bring up to friends things that we, prefer or didn't like, or like just our preferences basically. But I think the moment you bring it up, now both you and the other person know that this is a safe space where you can do that. Where you can
precedent.
Literally that. And I think where you both know that, it creates a new form of health in your relationship that allows that thing to honestly breed longevity basically. Yeah.
That's really good. And I really like the idea of just like, it's a constant invitation to the person, like the befriended person, to like just come a bit deeper. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just like you haven't had this type of conversation before, but let's just
try
it. Let's just give it a go. It's not like hey, you don't have to
do it ever again.
That's okay. But it's like the idea of not even trying it and not even giving it a go is where it's like you just don't know what you're missing out on. Like just show up for the opportunity.
This is really giving like friendship relationship vibe.
No, I feel like I'm learning so much from you guys. It's so good.
Yeah, it's so lovely. I think it's so nice to everyone's like perspectives. I mean, as well because we all went to work and we still all have so many things to say like that vary but also connect. It's really, really nice. It's just different perspectives. It's so great.
Yeah. I was thinking, honestly, first of all, I was thinking there's just so much grace in my life, I feel like, because I just don't think I really did anything. I don't understand why I have friends. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if like it just happens. Because I feel like I didn't speak to anyone in uni.
You didn't.
Like I don't know why I have friends. It's just
you actually didn't.
Anyways. I don't know if any of you guys experienced this, but you know when it's like I meant to have my antenna. It's something. It's from our time.
It's
fine. I thought there was like something.
I realised that I was making a noise and then I stopped. So you guys reacted just as I stopped, and that is so embarrassing.
Something in the.
I was just enjoying the suede of the sofa.
You're 21, like you think you've got to have all your lives together and you've got to grind. And did anyone like isolate in the pressure of that initial season of like I need to get my life together?
Yes.
Did anyone find their relationships suffer?
Yes.
Because I think I got told off for my attention. Have you gone friend? I'm like, well, I can't be your friend if I'm jobless. I can, but the thing is, I can.
Yeah.
I can. It's just that in my head, I couldn't. Like in my head, I had to tick X, Y, and Z box, and then I can present myself to the world again.
Yeah. And the thing is, right, I think I agree with you a lot, because I know the temptation is to look back at uni and be like, good old days, but actually that just wasn't my experience of Warwick at all. Like it actually just wasn't. And I think there was
so real. That's so real.
Things are so great. No, it was hard. It was so hard.
Because we look at it from hindsight and we pick out the good moments. No, but actually, if we was to
what about that time we were in the trenches for months? What about that? Months. What about like
the capital S on the end?
Yeah. And that's just real. That's like real.
Yeah. Just to make sure.
So I think I had been met with a lot of like grace from friendships, and I think it's really, for me anyway, I think it was a shame thing of like you want to pick yourself back up, and then you want to, then in your mind you just like, oh, I haven't spoken to this person in so long, and what will they think of this? And they've tried too much, and and whatever the excuse in your mind is. So then you then want to hide and like move further this way, as opposed to just like having an honest conversation. And I think a beauty of having Christian friendships is that actually we're all going to be in different seasons. So in a particular season, you might have a friend who's actually able to really kind of pick you up in that season and has the capacity to do so. But then there might be a time where they need you to kind of be the initiator. So I think it's recognizing, okay, cool, let's look at this realistically. Where are they at? Are they at a period of time where, like I say, like they need to, like, they've got stuff that they need to do, but they still need that support. But it means that I've got to be the one to initiate in that season. People will extend you grace, and like that's just the thing about grace. You don't deserve it, but that's just God's gift to us because He knows that we're meant to do life with people. But then I think then also realizing that, like, okay, cool, actually, it's so important for me to, in my relationships, to think about the different seasons that we might all be navigating and that what that means in terms of our adjustment of requirements. Like sometimes you might just need friends to slap you in the face and to like pull you from that place. Because I think particularly post-uni, that's been my thing of like, because I'll be complaining or I'll be saying whatever to Mercy, and then she'll say something that really challenges me, and it's like, oh, actually maybe I should just go message that person, or like, I should do that 3-hour travel for their birthday even though I don't want to. I think just things like that, and recognizing that often in isolation it's so easy to build something up so much in your mind, and it's not that deep.
I think it's nice that you mentioned Mercy Grace. I don't know if this is just an excuse, but I didn't really speak to anyone from like October, and I was like, it's grind season, till like, I'm not going to lie, April this year. And I feel like why I didn't feel isolated is because I lived at home and I had my sister, and I was like, that's my best friend. I can chat to her. You man, isn't it that everyone for themselves right now? Are we all at home talking to our sisters?
I think maybe there are some seasons where like you just are a bit removed from people. And I think that's okay. And I think it's just like I'm not gonna say that could be a God thing, that could not be a God thing, but like He reveals things to redeem. So it's like, just as long as you're willing to like take what you needed from that season and like you actually use those teachable moments for life. It's like there's no such thing as like a wasted period of time. And like in ways that will surprise you, God will just redeem a friendship or like just give you a pleasant surprise in a friendship. But I think we just have to be open and willing for God to be God and be like, okay, cool, you're writing the story, so what's the next chapter?
This is in retrospect, but it's always like, I feel bad that maybe I've only shown up as more present in my friendships when, quote unquote, I've got all my ducks in a row. When I was in the trenches, I wasn't really there for anyone other than myself. And it's like, friendship isn't just, you can't just be someone's friend from a stable place. And I feel like going forward into more ground up life, because there is going to be more ebbs and flows, it's like going forward, it's like learning how to be a friend when you have to walk for your own life.
I think what you said, Grace, about just receiving so much grace from your friends, like I think my friends are really understanding, and I remember Angie asked me one time, like, how do you communicate when you just disappear to your friends? Like, don't they get like, oh, where am I? And I'm like, no, they're gonna just message me and I won't reply. Like they just will send me that thinking of you, or just like they just know it, but they're so understanding in that. But then recently, one of my friends was like, you can't just like disappear for 3 months and not say anything. Like, if you want to be friends, you know, you do actually need to just. And they're just like, I'm not saying message me every day if you're doing stuff, do your stuff, but just I'm not going to reply for 3 months because I'm just not feeling up to it. Would be nice. And I was just like, do you know what fares? I did a whole message reply session after some isolating, beginning of December, end of November, and I was literally replying to messages from like September. Genuinely.
That's wrong.
Okay.
I was like, I didn't even like some of them. I was like, I'm not even gonna apologize because there's
It's fine.
It's already included in the reply. Let me just answer your question.
Let's just carry on. It's actually okay.
Some people are like, oh hey, congratulations. Oh, sorry, you know. And then this is whatever it is you're saying. But I'm like, I have been praying about it, and I was like, God, like what you said about being a present friend, no matter what you're going through, is like, I have been praying. I was just like, God, like you need to give me capacity because when life is like, you don't know my iMessage to ask how your day was.
No,
I don't really want to hear in the kindest way. But I was like, that's not very Jesus-like. And we are discipling to be like Him. So I was like, God, you have to be the one to help me. And I must say, since praying that consistently for a bit, I have been on top of my messages and I actually
good. Well done, girl.
Thank you guys.
Just touch me. See what I
Just hold yourself to good standards.
Yeah.
As well. Like I think what you said about being in uni so makes sense. Like age next door.
Yeah.
Or do you know, I'll see that cancer. Or what you're going to the party outside.
Okay, no worries, see there. The other relationship that I've had to relearn how to navigate is moving back in with my parents. Recognizing that my relationship with my family is my most important relationship as well. Yeah. So it's like, it is a relationship that is of value. I'm not just a lodger, like I'm not like thank you so much, Mum and Dad. I'm in a position where I'm very privileged in that they've let me move back in and they're saying, don't pay us a dime. We want you to go. When you go. Like, go and buy your house and like leave. So I recognize I'm in a privileged position, but it's also like going back to the whole like thing of being present, like, and not forsaking the time that I do have with my parents, because I'm fortunate enough to have both my parents and my sister and live under the same roof with them. I have this relationship, I have this time. How am I investing into it at this point? Because by the grace of God, if I get married, there'll be a time where like it's no longer my house. Like I will go into another person's household, and that's where I will call home. Relearning, how do I be a good daughter? How am I a good friend even to my parents? Because I'm now an adult, like they're not shouting at me anymore, and if they are, I'm like very like relaxed, like like calm down, like what's going on, like just chill out. You know, when you get to uni, you just get sucked into the fact that come on, just friends, love, and of course you always know that your parents are there. They're always that, specifically to me, like my parents are there, and that I have that structure and that system to go to. But it's like it is also a relationship that is worth investing in, and like taking the time to be like, oh, like when was the last time I went out with my mum and dad, or when was the last time that like I actually just spent time with them? So for me, for example, one thing that I make sure that I do within a week, did I sit and watch TV with my dad? Like, and it's something simple as that, but I can see, he would never say it now, but I can see that he enjoys the moments where we're sat together and we're watching TV together. And it's like he's getting to do that with his adult child who's back from uni now, who technically doesn't have anything that should really be taken away from his time spent with like me. And that's another thing that I didn't realize would be something that I'd have to like relearn how to be an adult child whilst having my own separate life. And not even because I'm hiding it, but I just have a whole world that they are not necessarily privy to. And I can tell you the stories, but you'll never really enter that space until, I don't know, like something drastic, like a marriage happens or something like that. And it's like you'll only be pulled into that when something life-changing happens. But whilst those two realities still coexist, it's like, how do I remember that like this is my most important space? Well, to me, or at least I do think it's a priority to have a good relationship with your parents, or have a relationship that feels like, no, like I tried at least. And if it's not that it's good, it's like I tried and I left and I tried. Yeah. Not everyone has the privilege to say that they have a good relationship with their parents, but it's like, how do I do this? Because I'm not a kid anymore. You are my mom, you are my dad, but like, you're not quite telling me what to do anymore, but like also you kind of are. But yeah, I just think that was not something that I was particularly expecting. Balancing the world that I have here and the world that is what I come home to every day. Yeah. Like after work, I come home to my parents. Kind of like not forsaking that and not like wishing that time away.